how do I feel about technology, specifically cell phones? I think they're a necessity for society right now, mainly because people become so dependent on them. We rely on them to talk to people, to communicate, and this form of communication has kind of become how we view communication. So people now automatically associate cell phones with talking. So people don't like to talk to people anymore. They'd rather do it through emails or texts or calls instead of face-to-face. I prefer to not, mainly because I don't have a smartphone, and so I don't really have all the high functions that most people do with their smart devices. But I don't know, it's kind of, I don't know, cell phones kind of drag me down. I never bring mine with me. It's always dead. I kind of lose it all the time. I drop it a lot, which is one of the main reasons I don't have a smartphone, is because I would break it. I don't feel attached to my phone, I guess, as most people do. But I do think it's still kind of necessary for communication, because especially talking to family, here at college, they're quite far away. And so I like it, but I don't want it. So I guess it's kind of a balance. Yeah, I guess I kind of feel insulted when people are using the phone in my presence. Mainly when it's an ongoing thing. I don't mind if people like take pics or like answer their phone or do text, but if we plan to hang out and then they use their phone most of the time, it kind of frustrates me, because it's like they're putting their friends, who I don't even know who they're talking to, over our friendship, which is like, I only have so much time to spend with them. I prefer to do it face-to-face versus wasting that time while they're talking to somebody else.
Yeah, so I think cell phones are great. Apps and things are getting more and more advanced, so you can use them for more and more things, which is really awesome to have a handheld device that can pretty much do everything. Like, when I get a smartphone, I don't have one yet, but when I do, I'll be using Google Maps all the time, and I'm sure I'll be using like WeChat and Instagram. Well, not Instagram, Snapchat, definitely. But I think cell phones are kind of straying away from being used as merely a tool, so it's not just for the sake of a phone now, it is for entertainment. There are so many games that you can play to pass the time, and that does kind of bother me when I'm hanging out with my friends and they whip out their phones to check their Facebook feed or their email. I understand email, but I feel like the time that I'm spending with them in person should kind of outweigh the time that they spend taking care of other things, because that's the point of getting together, is to enjoy each other's company. So one of the seniors actually approached this very same problem, and he designed a product that kind of houses your phone for a certain amount of time, so that you can't use it and your interactions with other people are more genuine. And I do appreciate that. So I would say overall that phones are great, but there should be a limit somehow set where people aren't using them all the time, because it's distracting, and I feel like it really minimizes the quality of time that you spend with each other.
So what do I think about cell phones? I think that it's a part of my life that I take for granted, because like it's like the main form of communication. It's the main way people make plans now, and like how they keep in touch. But I think people even like communicate more in text sometimes than actually meeting up now. So it's a huge way that people maintain their friendships and like keep in contact with their friends. So I'm also pretty used to it, because everyone around me, including me, uses cell phones quite a lot. One good thing I actually like about having a cell phone, especially if it has like a network or internet connection, is that I can search up facts. Like if someone talks about something and I don't know what they're talking about, without the cell phone and the internet, I'll just be like, oh, what are you talking about? And the conversation would just kind of die. But now that I have the internet, I can look it up, I can find out what it is, and oh, so that's what it is, and then I can contribute, and then the conversation goes on. So that's one really great thing about it. How I feel when other people are using the cell phone when we're out together, I guess I don't really mind if they're using it. It's only a little bit awkward when like there are huge silences and we're just like sitting there across from each other and they're just like scrolling, because that has happened before. Like before, when I was working at a place during an internship like 2 summers ago, like every time we go for dinner, like the first 5 minutes, everyone will be like talking and stuff, like about what just happened, about what we're gonna do, and then like for the rest of it, it's basically just like awkward scrolling through. It was just like I was the only one who didn't have my cell phone because I'm not used to that kind of like I'm not used to doing that because I'm used to when I'm going out with people just putting my technology away and focusing on them. So like when I was sitting there without my cell phone and they were all scrolling through their stuff, I was like, oh, what do I do? It's kind of awkward. I don't I don't take it as an insult. I just think it's like a really strange situation when you're with other people but you're also not interacting with them. But like something interesting that they actually did was that they would scroll through like their feed, and when they find interesting news, they'll talk about it with each other. So that's kind of a conversation starter that they use, I guess. I feel like pretty much everyone I go out with scrolls through their cell phone at some point. Like even like my parents, when we're eating out, like they have to like check their messages. That's just because like we're so comfortable with each other that like that's okay. But with like friends for the same age, I think that when you go out, you should try to like put your stuff down and talk with each other directly. Because like otherwise, what's the point of hanging out together in person if you're just gonna like be on your cell phone? Because then you might as well just text each other.